Friends, so welcome all of you to the holistic lifestyle, part of holistic lifestyle. Today we will study about the millets. That's called Siridhanya or millets. Okay, the small grains. Okay, friends, these are ancient grains which are golden grains. We call them as golden grains, which are very environmental friendly, which are very healthy for the human being also, human being consumption, either even for the human being, for the environment, for both the purposes. It's very highly useful and highly environmental friendly, my dear friend. These grains, especially Siridhanyas. Okay. So this should be our main course of food. Try to always remember this must be our main course of food. So, my dear friends, so why do we need to call this as a main course of food? Especially it provides all the nutrients, what all required. It will provide all the nutrients. So like any other, so in fact, the other, whatever the grains we generally use, white rice, white bodhi, and all these things, we already discussed so much so far in many classes, all the classes we discussed. So why white rice and white bodhi need to be avoided? What are the various drawbacks? So now when we try to understand the millets, especially, it has got so many benefits, my dear friends. It must be your main course of food. So always to be taken as a main course of food. Along with that, your green vegetables and spinaches and whatever chutney, sambar, all the things you can make and as a side dishes along with this main course of food. So if you do this, my dear friends, what are the various benefits you receive? The first and foremost benefit is so having highest amount of fiber in this all these grains, especially the millets or siridhanya. So if you take the view of that the white rice and bodhi, they have got very less amount of fiber, which is not going to be helpful for your digestion, better digestion, also better excretion. Your excretion will not be properly conducted as well. Your digestion also will be so faster, and then it will release the glucose, the glucose into your blood. Friends, it will release the glucose into your blood so faster. So that is going to be it's a lot of damaging, and it's going to increase the highest amount of glucose inside the blood. So that is where it will leads to the lot of other problems, because excessive glucose presence in the physical blood, so which is in turn will be converted into the triglycerides, glucose in packets, and also the cholesterol and the fats. So these are the four different things will get transformed. The highest amount of glucose which always exists in the blood will be converted into these things, so that the person will become obese, and also you will be attacked with a lot of other, you'll be getting a lot of other diseases like diabetes, and of course the BP, blood pressure, high blood pressure, and heart issues, and then a lot of other diseases. For all other diseases, this is only the main source, the main one of the factor, one of the reason. So the excess amount of glucose present in the physical blood, my dear friends. So for which what we are supposed to do is, so whatever the food we intake as a staple food or a main food, it must be giving the slow release of glucose into the blood. That is the main purpose of whatever the main food and a staple food what you are going to consume. So for that, so the Siridhanya or millets is the right choice. I can say is a very much right choice, because what are the amount of fiber that exists in the Siridhanya is about 8 to 12 grams. 12 grams of fiber out of 100 grams of Siridhanya or the millet food what we consume. So my dear friends, that is why it must be your primary food. So always remember, and taking medicine for illnesses is not advisable. Instead, consume these kind of foods which is going to boost your immunity, my dear friends. It is going to boost your immunity, and your own immunity will fight against all the diseases, and then you'll be always living healthily. So especially try to understand. So the millets, so this millets food is going to be, so definitely more nutritious than the rice and the godi, because it has got all the elements, whatever you say, calcium, magnesium, B12, and whatever you call, whatever the number of so-called we say minerals, all the minerals are available, all the vitamins are available very much, and that is why it is highly nutritious food, my dear friends, which is millets. So let's accept this, let's implement as our staple food or main primary food. What are the various? So now we understood what is the reason why we have to consume the millet. Especially, so once again, in order to recap, so the millets, the purpose of eating and purpose of making the millets as a main staple food or a primary food is to make sure that the release of the glucose after the digestion into the blood must be slower, must be slow and steady. Then only, that means if you eat in the morning at 9 o'clock till 6 o'clock, you won't get again hunger or appetite, right? You won't get hunger. The reason is the digestion process of millets food will be slower. And so that what will happen is the slow and steady release of the glucose into the blood is going to ensure the consumption of this glucose will be also taken place simultaneously. So when the simultaneous consumption of this glucose happens, the excessiveness of the glucose in the blood will not be there. So when it is not there, then you won't get any other diseases, my dear friends. So that is why keep remembering this particular cause. So we have to convert this millet as a staple food or a main food in our daily life, friends. So now the millets. So what are the various different type of millets? The friends, if you talk about the millets or siridhanya, there are 5 positive millets, positive grains, we can call it as. So what are these five millets? So what are these 5 millets? The first one is little or African millet. Second is foxtail or Italian millet, Kodo millet. Third one. Fourth is the barnyard millet, German, Japanese, Russian millet is also called. And fifth one is brown top or American millet. Friend, these are the 5, the major millets, the category of millets. These are the 5 major millets. These are called positive grains, positive millets. So which are the neutral millets? We call them as the neutral millets. But what are those neutral millets? These are called other millets, which are finger millet, ragi. So the finger millet, ragi, javagoti, and pearl millet. That's called bajra or sache. So they're also called neutral millets. What are the negative grains? Negative grains are the white rice and white godi. They are called negative grains, my dear friends. Now, so consuming these millets one after other, let's see. So little millet or African millet. See the name itself, African, Italian, German, Japanese. You can understand all these millets which are gone from the India to all these other countries. These countries also started using, my dear friends. So when these countries also started using, how do we forget? It's a source of, sources from India. Origin of these millets are from India, but we forgot and they started using. That is why the names also, you can imagine the names itself is kept like this. It is not that so-called the artificially or we kept as the kind of for a sake of the more beauty or whatever. No, it is not that. So these countries are also using these millets. That is why these are named after the country name. So hence we need to remember so many countries are using. So in that case, in the India has originated all these millets. So we forgot to use. And we went into using up more white rice and more the godi or more, the wheat in these 40, 50 years. That is why the health of a common person is damaged, is completely damaged, so much damaged now. In the society, the health of all the people, so many people, over whatever the profession they are into. So they are eating unhealthy food. And because what happened after the Green Revolution, came, so in order to provide the food for everybody, so what they have done, they encourage the so-called chemical farming. So because of chemical farming, heavy amount of chemicals are being used in order to grow this so-called white rice and white godi, whatever you can say like wheat. So these two things are grown with a lot of chemicals, not small amount of chemicals. It may be fertilizers, it may be another thing is so-called pesticides or fungicides. When they are doing this, what happened? So all that will be the part of your food when you are taking, then it goes into your own stomach, my dear friends. It's going to cause a lot of the side effects. Okay, and your immunity of your body, physical body, it is going to be reduced. So that is where you get a lot of other diseases comes inside because of lower immunity, friends. So that is why be careful. So now, so these millets can be used 2 days, 1 millet, another 2 days, 1 millet, another 2 days, 1 millet, like that. In 10 days time, you just plan yourself. One millet for 2 days, other millets for 2 days, like that. So repeat after 10 days, again repeat. Okay, in any order you want, you repeat it. But definitely it's going to be your main staple food. So that is the highest thing. One of the major decision you have to take after the session. You must take the decision in order to implement this in your day-to-day life, my dear friends. So they maybe the cost of these millets are little high, but one thing you remember, if you are getting a disease and going to the doctor and spending huge amount of thousands and lakhs rupees just by getting some or other disease, and that disease will turn into other diseases, and it becomes a chronic disease, or it becomes a acute and the dreadful disease. All this everybody is getting day-to-day times, I mean these days now. So that is why, to avoid, and in order to not you need not to get into that stage of the disease and all these things. Just as a prevention is better than cure. So go with the right food. When you use the right food, when your food is correct, you don't need any medicine, my dear friends. So that means when the food is not right, medicine also of no use. When the food is correct, you don't need medicine. Medicine is of no use for you. And when the food is not correct, even the medicine will not work. So that is the thing. So that's why remember this thing and make it as a staple food. Now, what are the other neutral millets? So when we say neutral millets, friends, this is called finger millet or ragi mudde or javagodi or pearl millet, there is bajra. All this they have, especially first 5 millets of these, so-called positive millets. These are called golden grains also. Okay, call it as golden grains, but these will have highest amount of fiber component. What is the amount of fiber component? 8 to 12 grams of fiber component out of 100 grams of grain. Now the other millets, what is called neutral millets, which are having the fiber component is somewhere between the 3 to 5 or 3.5 grams out of 100 grams. So these also you can use, right? Because they also got little less amount of fiber, but they're also very much helpful, my dear friends. Along with these 5 millets, you can join these millets also. Like you can make a roti out of bajra. You can make a mudda out of mudde out of the ragi. Javagodi, you can make a very good chapati. Javagodi available comes from the Karnataka region. All these go. It's also wheat. Javagodi means it's a wheat only, but it's one particular, a particular series of wheat in that. So what will happen? One kind of a variety of the so-called wheat, but it is growing with the no chemicals and not much water, friends. So that's the most important thing you have to remember. So this also you can use, right? So likewise you can plan to use in 10 days. You can keep on dividing all these things. Now, so other thing is these millets will grow with the 300 liters per kg. 1 kg millet you want to produce, 300 liters is more than sufficient. If at all you want to produce 1 kg of rice, white rice, right? You must be using 8,000 liters. If you want to produce 1 kg of your wheat, you have to use 13,000 liters, my dear friends. And if you want to produce 1 kg of sugar, you have to use about 28,000 liters, my dear friends. And if you want to produce 1 kg of so-called non-vegetarian, you need to use 50,000 liters. Imagine what is the kind of the natural resources exploitation which we are doing day in day out. That is going to give us a bad results at the end of the so-called in near future, maybe 10 years, 5 years, whatever it may be, 5, 10 years or 15 years, which is going to be totally the nature itself we are exploiting like anything. Then it's going to give the bad results towards us, and then we have to suffer. The humanity has to suffer, my dear friends. So instead of that is why, to avoid all those things, go to only these millets as a main staple food or a primary food for you. Now, some more details if you want to understand about Siridhanya or millets. Millet food grains cultivation will protect our environment, as I told you. So there are two types of fiber in every millet, my dear friends. One is soluble fiber, another is insoluble fiber. What is the advantage of soluble fiber? That means fiber is very much existing in every millet. It's about 8 to 10 grams out of the 100 grams grain of a particular millet. Now, they have got two types of fibers, fiber component within any millet. So that is soluble fiber and insoluble fiber. What is the soluble fiber? What is the soluble fiber does, that we have to understand. So that means a soluble fiber and the insoluble fiber, especially this fiber which is soluble in the blood, which will clean all the organs and flushes out all the impurities on a daily basis. It is going to purify the blood and all the impurities will be expelled out with the help of the soluble fiber exists in the millet. The insoluble fiber, what it does, it also exists and it will cleanse all the excretion process, such as especially the large intestine, anus, and colon. Colon will be cleansed, and large intestine also will be cleaned very much with the help of this insoluble fiber which exists in the millet. Friends, this is the amount of percentage, as I told you, 8 to 12 grams of, out of the 100 grams. That you can remember. So especially now, let us see these millets, what are the various diseases or various cleansing process does by each one of the millet. Let's understand. Foxtail millet. The foxtail millet will clean the nervous system and lungs. Foxtail millets got the characteristics in order to cleanse the nervous system and lungs. And little millet especially cleans the reproductive organs. And kodo millet repairs the bone marrow, whereas the blood cells are produced. Blood cells are getting produced. So that is the help which can be done by kodo millet. Friends, barnyard millet, what it does? It is going to clean especially the delicate organs like kidneys, clean the liver, urinary bladder, endocrine glands, and gallbladder. So these are the various cleansing activities of the barnyard millet. It's a wonderful activity, wonderful cleaning of so many sophisticated and very the sensitive organs. And brown top millet especially has the power to cure all the disorders related to respiratory system and bones. So these are the various diseases and various help done by each one of the millets. So let's remember these things and follow that. Friends, so this is how the millets are completely going to be much helpful for you in your day-to-day life. So friends, other thing is, for example, you take the so-called ragi. Ragi means so that the ragi, if you take, what will happen? So the ragi itself, with that, generally in South India we make ragi malt. So what is meant ragi malt? It means ragi powder you take, okay, and then go on mixing the water. And after that, you start boiling the water and go on mix some ragi powder. Go on mix it, continuously mix. Otherwise, it becomes a balls. It becomes a balls, the hard solid balls. So instead of that, go on mix it, keeping some. So go on pouring the powder, go on mixing it. Then what will happen? It becomes a ragi malt. And in that, finally, you can add some tati bella, that is palm jaggery, and drink it. So that is called ragi malt. So this ragi malt, especially, friends, has got so much power that if anybody is suffering from the gastric and acidity problems, just drink 2 glasses in the morning and afternoon 2 glasses, evening 2 glasses, then your complete gastric and acidity will be removed completely. You don't need to suffer at all. In your lifetime, it will not come back. So that is the power of this ragi malt. Let me tell you. Okay, so like this, many of the diseases will be cured with the help of these millets food. So any of the millets food, whatever you take, not only millets food, any food you take, it must be sustainable. It must be sustainable. It must be helping you and all other live beings and as well as the environment. Not that you only have to eat and all other things to be gone bad. So that is not allowed in the environment and nature. Nature will never allow that, my dear friends. So remembering all this, so let's all start using these millets as a siridhanya as a main staple food, my dear friends.